Hello, everyone. How are you? I'm checking, make sure, of course, that I am live because you just never know. Okay, it looks like I am. Okay, I'm just going to open this up so I can see comments in case I don't see them. Okay, I can hear myself. Okay, so for those of you that do not know me, welcome. My name is Amy Gernot. I own Amy G Vitality. Um, Health and wellness, although that's not really what I do, but it's the easiest way to say this is the genre of work that I am in, working with the women's bodies, working with body intelligence, working with the feminine body intelligence, and the intelligences of nature, the world around us. So you can find me on YouTube now as Midlife Mother of Chickens, as well as on TikTok. Just started those, and living from scratch. So those are the places you can connect with me other than here. Most of my lives from here on out are going to be on YouTube, and I will share them to this page. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Julie. So good to see you. I hope you are feeling better, and I may have some figs this week. We're almost done with fig season. I saw some this morning, so I am going to do a harvest hopefully today. I have a very packed day with chicken stuff and work stuff, so we'll see what happens, but I may have some figs for you. I will let you know. Before I get started, I am going to quickly tag a couple of people. Hold on one second. Who asked me to tag them when I did this. Yes, yay, I know. I hope I have some left. We'll see. Okay. Okay, good. I'm seeing comments here. All right. So let me put this away. All right. So I want to talk about health products and tools. So yesterday or the day before, I don't even remember now, I shared a post about the truth about water here on my Facebook page. You can go and find that because it should be the last post that I shared, and talking about what water really is, and that we have reduced it to H2O. We've reduced it to this chemical structure. Water is really an H3O2 in a different form, in its more structured form. And it's really important to understand that because that's what makes up the majority of the water in our body. And it's very different. So it's not like this water you drink here out of your glass. It is in a completely different form. And it's called structured water, it's called easy water, exclusion zone water. Those are the names for it. If you want to go down the rabbit hole, you can go and look up the work of Gerald Pollack. He is the one who discovered this fourth phase of water. And you can learn more about what that means. If you're super nerdy and you want all of that like scientific background on it, it is available, because I saw someone ask that on a shared post if there was backing for that, and there is. So you can go and look at it there. I would also recommend the work of Veda Austin, V as in Victor, EDA Austin, like the city. Her work with water is really profoundly beautiful, and I think you would get a lot out of her. So you could go look her up on Instagram. That's a great place to connect with her there and her work. And I may or may not talk about her work here as I go forward. So talking about product. So I was asked about structured water filters. There's also wands, like a wand that you would put in your water to structure the water. There's one that's called, I think, an Analema wand. There's other ones out there. There's different, there's a lot of product out there. Because of course, anytime something starts to gain traction, they want to create a product to mimic what nature does. Right? Because then they can sell it to you. Then they can monetize it. Because in and of itself, it's not something that you can monetize, right? It's something that is already in the body. It's readily available to us through multiple ways. You can go and look at the posts that I shared. I'll touch on a couple of those here. But I want to talk about, are these products worth it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's really up to you and what you find value in, what you deem as worth it, what you deem as worth the money, worth the investment. It's really up to you. What you believe in is the most important thing at the end of the day, regardless of what I'm going to tell you here. Because this is how I see the reliance of product. Because almost across the board, this is what people want to know about. They want to know, what can they buy? What can they invest in to get this effect, when most of the effect of what they're looking for is literally right outside their door, like literally right outside the door. But because we've been taught that being outside is dangerous, we've been taught that being outside is, not good for us, and the sun's going to kill us, and all the things. You guys know I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. So we tend to stay away from it, and we stay isolated in our homes, and we look for these things, again, that mimic nature. And I want to be very clear about those words, mimicking nature. They will never, ever, no matter how advanced the technology becomes, they are never going to do what nature does. Now, we've also been taught that nature is scary, nature is against us, that we are frail and faulty, and that our bodies are the problem. None of these things are the truth. And this is going to be another conversation for another day. But we have created a world and an environment that does not honor biology. And when you remove a nature being from its original source and disconnect it through multiple different things, again, this is a conversation for another day because it's a big conversation. The biology now is going to adapt, because that's what it does, but it's going to have to adapt and work around the inputs it's now being given, which is a lot of interference with the way that the system is designed to work. Not only that, but we are disconnected from the forces of life, of the ground, of the sun, of all of those things. Okay? So when we're disconnected from that world, the biology has no choice but to find a different way to function. And as we can see decade after decade with the explosion of chronic illness issues, chronic symptoms, chronic expressions, however you want to say it in the body, since let's say the 90s, because this is really when this chronic thing really started to explode. And again, many reasons for that, and we're not going to go through that in this video. What we've created for ourselves is not working. And now we keep blaming the body, as the body is frail and the body is faulty and the body is dirty and the body is, weak. It was only expressing those things because of the environment it has been enmeshed in. Okay? Now, I think our bodies are doing tremendous work to keep us here on the planet and not become completely extinct in the biology, although we are headed there. Again, video for another day. So it's doing a tremendous job, but there's a point, and we're seeing that tipping point now with infertility. Fertility rates continue dropping every year, so on and so forth. And we see that on the planet as on the whole, right? Even beyond the human, the soil, the degradation of the soil, all of those things are happening simultaneously, and they're mirrors of each other, micro, macro. So all that to say, let's get into the tools and products. But it's important you have a little bit of background of understanding of why I'm going to say the things I'm going to say here. It's going to help. So in and of themselves, the tools are neutral, right? It really is. A tool is about the user and how you're going to use it. What is your goal? What is your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish with this tool? Why are you utilizing the tool, right? That's the deal. The tools are neutral. I was going to go somewhere else and I'm not going to go there. I'm going to get off track. So let's talk about the structured water tools for a minute. So the structured water tools, again, are creating coherence in the water. If you look up the work of Veda Austin, but also I'm going to have to go and look really, really quickly. He's the Japanese scientist. It's going to be right here. Hold on just a second. Because I'm not going to pronounce it right. So I'm just going to scroll through this. Masaru Emoto. If you go and look at their work and the coherence of water and seeing what coherence, especially in Masaru, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Emoto, Dr. Emoto. If you go and look at his work it shows very clearly. Now he's working with water, vibration, frequency, all intention, all of those things. You see a very clear picture of what fractured water looks like out of coherence and coherence, which oftentimes looks like a mandala. It looks like a snowflake, and that's his work. Veda Austin's is very different. So, and he was doing some of that with just the intention of the words he was speaking to the water. Because water is an intelligence. It's not an inert substance that we just use so we don't get dehydrated. And even just drinking water by itself is not hydrating anyway. So like the idea of you just need to drink a gallon of water a day to hydrate yourself, that's not accurate. That's not the truth at all. That's not how the body stays hydrated. Case in point. So that is what coherence means. It's the way the water looks from a structural standpoint. And so when it's in coherence, it has a different effect on the body, just like out of coherence has a different effect on the body. And so even just in our relationships, coherence, non-coherence, in our own body, coherence, non-coherence, is really at part of the core of how something is benefiting the system. So the tools are supposed to structure the water so that you're taking in water in coherence, which is better for the body, right? Tap water is very incoherent when you look at it, just because of all of the shit in it, basically. So that's what the tools are designed to do. Here's my thing. And again, if you want to use the tools, use the tools. It's your belief system. But here's the thing, and why I say for me personally, in someone asking my opinion, I don't think it's worth buying those products. Based off of the work that you can look in front of it, case in point, see, talking to the water a certain way, giving the water certain inputs, like the picture of a seed, the picture of a baby, somebody laughing, whether, your emotions and how the water will create an image of your emotion because of the memory that it carries. You don't need those things. You just need a relationship with water. And I know that sounds super weird, but the truth is how you relate to and engage with water matters, because again, it's intelligence. Just like a relationship with another person in your world, it's an intelligence that you're working with there. I'm just gonna pop this back open. So just having water here and being in a state of joy, in a state of love, and I'm not talking about being polypositive here, please. No, I'm not talking about that. But interacting with it as if it's intelligence, saying thank you to it, a blessing with it, whatever that is. And we see this from the work of those two people and many more who are doing this work now, that's all you need to do to create structure in the water. So then if you also just for a moment consider how much structured water is within our own bodies, which is a lot, right? That's the majority of it. Yes, there is regular water as well, but the majority of the water in the system, in the fascia, all of the places, it's H3O2. It is not H2O. Structured gel-like water. If water holds memory, and you can change the structure of the water with how you speak to it, how you think about it. Think of how we speak and think about our own bodies. And that the water is listening. The water hears this. And the water has to respond, because that's what it's designed to do. And it's not responding in judgment. It's not responding in hatred. It's just going to respond to whatever input you are giving it, because its intelligence is by design. So when we speak those things over ourselves, over water, whatever it is we're speaking words of love or words of hatred, the water's going to respond. And that has a biological impact on our systems. That's how much control we have. within our system to work with the body when the body is saying something is off. We can go to how have I been thinking about my body? How have I been speaking about my body? Okay, so product wise, create a relationship with water, and it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel wonky, and you're not going to see anything happen. But we know it is. We know it's happening. And so again, dependent on your belief in it, because that matters, how you engage with it. I have a dog under my foot. So for me, buying the products when all I need to do is have this conversation. Also, infrared light. Okay, so let's talk about that for a moment, because it's all the rage to buy the infrared light masks. Some of them are LED, which is a whole other conversation. Doing the infrared therapy. And again, the tool itself is neutral. It's not about the tool, it's the user. But again, when you're out in nature, and this is really important piece, when you're out in nature, getting sun, getting the infrared in the morning, let's say, you're not just getting infrared in isolation, because nature doesn't work that way. We have a very reductionist viewpoint of how we put product out. We're reducing it down to just this thing. We're just going to structure the water, right? There's no relationship there. We're going to structure it because we're going to extract what we want from it without creating any relationship with it. So with all of the red light therapy, and again, there's a place for this. Again, the tool is neutral. But here's what I really want to drive home about these tools, because they are very reductionist. The grounding mats, the infrared light therapies, you'll take time to do those, but you're not taking time to get outside every single day and actually have the experience immersed in the outside world. Because both of those things, the infrared, the grounding mat, also both help to create structured water within the body. That's why I'm bringing those up. You're missing all the other inputs that happen when you go outside. Okay, so let's just talk about that for a minute. When you're using the infrared light indoors, again, you're not getting the full spectrum of light. If you've got a bunch of other lights, overhead, and you've got a bunch of LED lights, you're also getting all of that impact on the rest of your body. You're getting all of that impact if you're in front of that, or unless, obviously, if you have all the lights up and it's just infrared, that's a whole different conversation. You're indoors, indoor air, indoor environment, very not expansive, very like your eye just stops at all these places, rather than when you're outside, it's like this expanse. Like you can just see forever, especially obviously depending on what's around you. It's different, okay? Indoor life, outdoor life, different. They both have their place. But we are missing the point with these products. So we're like, okay, I'm going to get my grounding mat and I'm going to do grounding during the day. Great. But when you go outside and you put your feet in the grass, or you have the trees around you, the flowers around you, maybe there's birds singing, all of those inputs are part of the experience of the grounding. It's not just the grounding. It's like we're taking the supplement, right? Like we're taking the vitamin D, which we don't need to be taking anyway. Again, conversation for another day. We're taking the vitamin D. There are so many cofactors for vitamin D. There are so many other ways when we're getting true vitamin D from the sun, the way our bodies are designed. It's a whole entirely different process. So we're trying to reduce it down to this one single thing, and nature doesn't work that way. Nothing works in isolation in nature. Nothing. Everything is an ecology. Everything has a symbiosis to it. It is all working together. So when you are just grounding all day in the house, great. Okay, yeah, so you're getting that one input of that exchange of electrons. Beautiful. That's a great thing. But you are missing everything else that goes along with it. It's not just the grounding. Again, taking that reductionist view of like, it's just this thing and we want this exchange of electrons and we want to ground the body. Okay, but when you're outside, you're getting the light in your eyes, which is giving your body information. Your feet are in the ground, or maybe you're touching a tree and you're getting the information from that. We also know that as we look at a tree and we actually look at it, right? Like actually observe it, actually witness it, actually engage with it, it sees us. It is intelligence. It is not just this thing that gives you shade. It's an intelligence of its own. And when we witness nature, and yes, there's lots of information about this out there, when we witness nature and it witnesses us back, we actually change the ecology within the soil. It starts to have different responses based on our interaction with it. It's reciprocity, the way it's supposed to be. And when we remove the reciprocity and we just say, I'm just going to get the grounding mat and I'm just going to do the grounding, you miss the brilliant opportunity to engage with the intelligence around you and create a different world. We're missing the point. It's not just get the mat and get grounded. It's not just get the infrared and get the infrared inputs. Right? It's like that is very extractive. And it's also, again, very reductionist to think it's just this one thing. When again, you go to the outside world and you're getting the infrared light, but you're also getting the entire other spectrum. And you're hearing bird song and maybe you're sweating because here it's very hot today. It's extraordinarily muggy outside. So you're sweating and you're glistening and maybe you're uncomfortable and you have boob sweat. I don't know, but it's part of it. You're missing all of those pieces. The opportunity to connect on multiple levels, the way it's designed to be with nature, and we are reducing it down to a mat, or we're reducing it down to a red light therapy. And again, I'm going to repeat over and over again, the tools are neutral. It's not about the tool. It's about the tool mimicking what's available to you and then some right outside your door. Those tools, because they're one thing, will never be able to replicate the experience your body is having that, yes, you're not going to probably even know what's going on because we're not designed to know everything. We aren't designed to reduce it down to a certain thing that's happening because there's so many things happening. We will never fully understand the complexity. When we reduce it down to a mat or reduce it down to a light, we miss all of the benefit and the interchange that happens when we engage with and come into relationship with the outside world. The mimic of the product will never give you that. So it will never, ever add up. It will never, ever match what's available to you in the real thing, the real tangible thing. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to talk a lot about this today because this is also another video for another day. As we move along and progress, the transhuman movement, which is part of that movement, is the integration of technology into biology. For me, that's a no. And there's multiple reasons for that. And again, I'm not going to go into it on this video. As we move forward and that agenda continues, because again, they're looking at the body is frail and we want to transcend the body because the body isn't working. Well, we know the body is doing its absolute best disconnected from its natural world. So it's not the body that is the problem and the body needs to be solved and the body needs to be overridden. It is that we need to create a world that honors biology and where there is reciprocity between us and the outside world. And I'm not talking about the climate thing. I'm not talking about the greenwashing of all that. I am not talking about that. This is way beyond that conversation. The products will never give you what the real thing will give you at the end of the day. And again, what you decide to do is what you decide to do. Beautiful. Go do your thing. What you believe in is what you believe in. Beautiful. Go do your thing. Okay? But when we reduce nature to a single piece, we lose the wholeness that it is actually designed to give us, and that we are designed to interact with, and that interaction creates changes in the ecology of both, because that's the design. We are meant to be working and living within it in a very different way than what we've created. These last 100 years especially has seen us reduce everything into very isolated living, not in community anymore, not being outside for various reasons. Again, another conversation for another day. I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole on those. The body is not the problem. How we are living is creating the expression of the body saying this isn't working. Okay? When the body is having, the dog is growling probably at another dog out the window, just an FYI in case he starts barking. I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute because this is way longer than I was going to go. Hey, thank you for letting me know. So the body, when it is speaking, is an expression of how your body is experiencing your life. That's why you cannot work with the body from the isolated viewpoint of a symptom or a group of symptoms or even a diagnosis, because they are not separate from the whole ecology of the life you are living. If you want a different experience of the body, the ecology of your life is going to have to change, and that is just the way it is. That is the reality that we don't want to talk about because we just want to cherry pick a couple things and hope that it works, or it works for a little while so we can go back to the life we've been living that's creating the way we're feeling it anyway. I was going to say something else there and the word just left. So I'm going to wrap this up by just again saying the product is neutral. And you have the power within you to reconnect to these places that are literally outside your door, even just in your body, in a glass of water that you can engage with. And I know it's weird, and I know it feels weird, but we used to have a different view of this. The water used to be called the waters because it was like a living, breathing ecosystem of waters. And we reduced it down to H2O, and we suppressed the intelligence of our understanding. The intelligence of the water has always been, but we suppressed our understanding of it and disconnected ourselves from it. So we would just think it's this inert thing that doesn't have this brilliant ability and stored memory of everything in existence. Everything. All of time. It's brilliant. So, you don't need to get a wand. You don't need to get a filter unless you just really want to do those things. The grounding mat, great. If you want to do that, please go outside. Don't let that comfort and convenience keep you from building a relationship with the natural world that we are designed to be a part of. Because that's how you begin to create real change. Step by step, little bit at a time. You don't have to do a total overhaul. It's not necessary. It takes time to, move a ship. So we do it piece by piece. And we do it having these conversations to where you can open your eyes up to a different possibility, a different way of seeing the world, a different way of experiencing the world around you. That's not what you've been told. Okay, so I love you all. Again, I will be doing some lives here, but most of them are going to be on my YouTube channel here moving forward. It's Midlife Mother of Chickens. There's a lot of chicken stuff on there right now, but a lot of these type of videos are coming. So I would love to see you over there. So please go take a moment and subscribe. And yeah, I would love to know your thoughts. You're so welcome, Julie. I would love to know your thoughts, how this landed for you, what your perceptions are, what your thoughts are about this. Because they matter. They don't have to match mine, right? Like your thoughts matter. So also look for some upcoming dinner gatherings where we're going to have these conversations live in person. So just be on the lookout for that. I have one that I'm going to be sharing this week that I'm going to be doing for this month. It's going to be a Saturday event. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, I love you all. Thank you for being here. If you made it this long, Julie, you were here the whole time. So I love you all. I will see you soon. And again, would love to hear from you on this and what you have to say about it. See you later.